Despite all their rage, they're still just, well, you know the rest. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 WWE cage matches. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be ranking the most memorable, high-impact, or important WWE matches to take place within the unforgiving steel cage. Matches from the WWF and WWE eras will be considered just so long as they were held within that infamously unforgiving structure we all know and love. Number 10, The Big Show vs. Braun Strowman, Monday Night Raw. This steel cage match wasn't the first time that Big Show and Braun Strowman faced each other in the squared circle, with one memorable prior incident resulting in an imploded ring. This face-off proved to be equally memorable as both men pulled out some seriously big moves to pop the crowd. The Big Show surprised many by taking to the air for a giant elbow drop, while Strowman seemed superhuman as he threw Show right through the cage after winning the contest. This honestly could have wound up to be a methodical exercise in tedium, but kudos to both Show and Strowman for making this one steel cage match with a big fight feel. Number 9, Batista vs. Chris Jericho, Monday Night Raw. This World Heavyweight Championship bout between Batista and Chris Jericho was a fairly stiff and well-paced affair, but it was some of the controversy about its finish which is remembered by many fans. It was during a corner spot between the pair when Jericho battered Batista on the head with a part of the cage, and now this normally wouldn't have been all that weird, but this was during the early part of the WWE's transition from MA-rated content to the PG era. Batista took a blade to his forehead to sell Jericho's offense, which was in strict violation of the company's policy. The fallout from this match included fines paid by both men, with Batista's reportedly totaling over $100,000. Yikes. Number 8, The Rock vs. Ken Shamrock vs. Mankind, Breakdown in Your House. We head to the Attitude Era for the next cage match on our list, a period which was, depending on your taste, possibly the best time for pro wrestling. Breakdown in Your House wasn't one of the company's big four pay-per-views, but it did feature one hell of a steel cage match between The Rock, Ken Shamrock, and Mankind. The rules for this contest were a little different, as pinfalls were allowed in addition to the competitors escaping through the cage. This added even more excitement to the contest, which already featured some of the industry's strongest and most physical performers, and made it an easy highlight of the night. Number 7, Eddie Guerrero vs. Rey Mysterio, WWE SmackDown. In the world of professional wrestling, there's great, and then there's Eddie Guerrero great. The man's work was iconic and influential within the squared circle, with this steel cage match between Eddie and the high-flying Rey Mysterio serving as just one memorable moment in a career full of highlights. The pair had battled each other many times in the past, and this familiarity was showcased within the bout's frantic pace and hard-hitting style. Mysterio, almost always playing a babyface, usually came out on top when the pair worked together, but this night was Eddie's night, as he beat Rey Mysterio by pinfall right in the center of the ring. Number 6, Chris Benoit vs. Kurt Angle, Monday Night Raw. It's difficult to separate the achievements of Chris Benoit the performer versus the horrible and tragic actions committed by Chris Benoit the man. The fact is that Benoit could be relied upon to deliver pro wrestling clinics at any given moment. Pairing him up with the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle was a match made in heaven for wrestling fans, and this steel cage contest delivered on all fronts. Benoit's flying headbutt and Angle's incredible moonsault off the top of the cage were breathtaking to watch, while the interference from Stone Cold Steve Austin ensured that the crowd was hot as hell from bell to bell. Number 5, Matt Hardy vs. Edge, Unforgiven. There was some very personal animosity between Matt Hardy and Edge prior to their 2005 steel cage match at Unforgiven. This was due to the real-life behind-the-scenes drama of Hardy's then-girlfriend, WWE Hall of Famer Lita, leaving him for the future rated-R superstar. Soap opera aside, however, this was probably the most satisfying match between Hardy and Edge, even if their previous encounter at SummerSlam was a more traditionally violent affair. The crowd was invested, the performers fired up, and the storyline basically wrote itself, so it was a no-brainer that this steel cage match would deliver the goods. Number 4, Stone Cold Steve Austin vs Vince McMahon. St. Valentine's Day Massacre in your house. We're heading back to the Attitude Era, this time for one truly bloody brawl. It isn't every day that you get to beat your boss to a pulp, keep your job, and get paid for your troubles, but this was exactly the situation which presented itself for Stone Cold Steve Austin in his steel cage match against Mr. McMahon. Vince has always proved himself to be an underrated performer in the ring, especially with his ability to sell offense, and this was one of the earlier instances of him taking some punishment. Add to that the debuting Big Show at the match's finish, and you have just one memorable moment from the epic Austin McMahon blood feud. Number 3, the Hardy Boyz vs Edge and Christian, Unforgiven. The first epic tables, ladders and chairs match from SummerSlam 2000 was still fresh in people's minds when Edge, Christian and the Hardy Boyz squared off for the Tag Team Championships at Unforgiven that same year. Tag team rules applied for this steel cage bout, requiring both members of a team to escape the cage in order to be declared the winners. This enabled both teams to provide some excellent storytelling, as Jeff Hardy was forced to climb back into the cage in order to save his brother Matt from being double-teamed. Spots like this, combined with their quartet's natural chemistry, made this steel cage match an Attitude Era highlight. Number 2, Edge vs Kurt Angle, WWE SmackDown. Kurt Angle had lost a hair versus hair match prior to entering this steel cage bout against Edge on WWE SmackDown, which explains the Olympic hero's wig and choice of headgear. There was absolutely nothing funny about the in-ring action set on display here, however, as both men truly brought their A-game to the party. There was barely a moment wasted in this contest, and it's clear right from the start that Edge and Angle have some magic chemistry. Of course, there's also that incredible moment when a bloodied Edge basically spears Angle out of his boots as Kurt's running at him from the corner. It's awesome stuff. Number 1, Bret Hart vs Owen Hart, SummerSlam. A classic never goes out of style. Such is the story behind this well-known steel cage match between brothers Bret and Owen Hart. The reason why this match is so good really comes down to the level of talent there in the ring. There were few cage matches during this time with the same level of storytelling and pacing which was brought to the table by the Harts. The build-up was measured brilliantly prior to the match, while the action inside was more exciting and violent than most cage matches had been up to this point. The fact that we're still discussing it over 20 years later just says it all. It's a must-watch. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.